careers. No employees were harmed in making this advertisement.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 6:05 on a Monday morning. Happy Monday. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hot today. I don't know. I haven't looked at the weather, but it's been a little warm, so it's gonna continue a warm weekend. Wait, Hyundai of Yuma. I got to mention them. Hyundai of Yuma. They're advertisers on the show out there on 32nd Street. America's best warranty. 5 years, 60,000 miles. 10 years, 100,000 miles. Yeah, I got my Hyundai back. Andy had it. He had to go help me out in Tampa, so he brought that car to go to Phoenix to grab a flight, and I got it back for like a day, and then my daughter needed it because her transmission's acting up. So, yeah, I'm driving the 26-year-old Suzuki, which I happen to like. I do. It's nothing like my Hyundai, and that's it. You got to get behind the wheel, and I tell you, getting behind the wheel of a car is enjoyable. And Andy commented on it. He'd never driven it before, and it helped his back. He enjoyed driving it, and that's why you got to take a test drive. Just get out there and get that done. Even just drive the little truck or the big Palisade. You got the Accent, the smaller ones, used cars. They'll buy yours, actually. Yeah, go out and have them look, drive their car, have them look at yours. And if they give you an offer that you like, you just say, well, I'm not going to buy a car today, but I'll take the offer. And they'll write you a check even. They'll take care of it. So get out there. This weekend, I was babysitting because my daughter, as you know, is with the Miss Yuma County organization, which is Miss America and all that, and they had the Phoenix, for Miss Arizona in Phoenix. They had the whole pageant for them and the contest and all of that kind of stuff. And so Casey, that's Catherine, had to go up there, and she took her newborn baby with her. But I kept a 5-year-old terrorist. I didn't even know this till the last minute when she called me and said, "Oh, Dad, could you watch the baby for a couple days?" Or not the baby, but Caitlin. And I said, "Of course, yeah, no problem." And there was an opportunity on Saturday night to go to Yuma Desert Doves, Women on the Wing chapter, and it's a new organization of some women that have already been meeting for gun safety hunting training for women, where they we'll spend time working with firearms, get women ready for a dove hunt, take them out on a dove hunt. And let me get back to that. I left the phones on, so I'm going to answer it. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
You know what? I'm going to help you with your commercial today. I'm not even going to get paid for it.
Oh, all right.
But I'm sure glad that I bought my little Hyundai Elantra before the Democrats took over. Because now I can afford to pay for the fuel that they've jacked up so damn high.
Yeah, I talk about you quite a bit because you're getting over 40 miles a gallon in a regular.
43 miles per gallon. It's 79 miles an hour. So.
Crazy.
It is crazy. I have a hard time believing it, but it does it all every time I go to Phoenix or we go someplace. That's what it says. So,
yeah.
So anyway. That's your commercial for on a fantastic little car. Every time I drive it, it's an exciting little car to drive. So.
It puts a smile on your face. I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand it. I do.
And I really like the way Sally gets mad at me, but the way the car corners. Car corner very nicely. A very easy car to go around the corner.
And she thinks you're going too fast around the corner?
Well, she did well sometimes. But my 2 cents for today is, what in the hell is wrong with these dumbass people? What President Trump did is he put people in the Supreme Court, that would follow the Constitution.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened with Roe versus Wade.
Yeah.
What what the Constitution is doing now is, and what the Supreme Court says, hey guys, this was not our job.
Right.
The courts took it away from the government and give it back to the people, and the dumbasses are bitching.
Yeah.
What a victory for we the people to take something away from the government that had none of their business being in.
Well, they gave it back to the states, and it's a states
isn't that
issue.
We the people? That's we the people.
Well,
right?
yeah, right. I think the more local form of government's the best, and that's what this happened. Took it out of federal hands. It was not constitutionally, in the Constitution at all, and there's there's opportunities though, buddy. The Constitution's open to laws and open to doing that. In the last 50 years, the Democrats could have pushed an abortion bill to support that, and they never did or couldn't. I don't know, but nobody would vote for it. They couldn't pass it today if they wanted to, but that's open. If it's not in the Constitution, you can always pass some legislation, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it.
Every time I watch these protesters, all these young girls out there jumping up and down, and men and women, and I'm thinking, boy, aren't they? They should be real happy. Their mommies didn't believe in birth control like that. They wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, well, that shut the door behind you. Yeah, right.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
You know what? I think of that door that has been left open, and a lot of them, they call them grandchildren and stuff like that are awesome little children. And there's a lot of people, they were just born and they shouldn't have really happened.
Yeah.
But, those are really some pretty awesome people.
Yes, they certainly can be. And, but it's a conversation that we're going to continue to have. And
yeah.
I can't believe how heated it is, though. I mean, it's just nuts right now. Unfortunately, that's not good for anybody. But again, I think the left has been trying to tear down everything anyway. So this is just another wedge issue for them to cause riots and fires and anger and torment. So,
well, it is. When Trump was gone, life was good. When the Republicans are running the country, the country runs like a business. When the Democrats run it, they're running like a cat house.
Well, and
being polite.
Yeah, and I think Trump did better than most Republicans. I think he really attacked issues he said he was going to. He wasn't weak about any of it, and that's why he's such a threat, and that's why they're after him. Still, I mean, they're never going to stop. They're trying to, this January 6th thing is just to keep him from ever becoming influential, take it away. They want to indict him on anything so bad. They're going to fabricate something. They got to.
Yeah. Did you see where AOC wants to impeach our Supreme Court?
Yeah, I'm going to be talking.
They followed the Constitution, and she wants to impeach them.
It just shows who our elected officials are. They have no understanding. Unfortunately, and we'll be talking about it.
So we have to go back, and we need to keep Mayor Nichols in there too. If we want to have a nice town like we have, all people have to do is go down and vote for Mayor Nichols.
I second that. I think that's great.
See what people need to understand. We need people running our town that will step up and be with the people.
Yep.
And Mayor Nichols does that. He gets with the people.
Absolutely.
To me, he is a people's mayor, not a whatever.
Well,
have a good day, Russ.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye. Yeah, we've had some headaches in there. Well, let me get back to this woman of the wings. I ended up with a date that was 5 years old because my daughter went out of town. So there I am, and I had a great time. And this is one of those events where it's a banquet. And it's a fundraiser, and there's opportunities to win a few firearms, and of course, Sportsman Warehouse was there to help with that, and then there's raffle buckets and a Plinko game. So Caitlin, my 5-year-old granddaughter, just enjoying herself. I don't know that most 5-year-olds would have, but I know this girl, and she enjoyed being out there and doing that. She was the youngest in the room probably by 20 years because we had a few young ones, but like 25 young, not 5. But anyway, she played Plinko. She said she wanted to play Plinko, so I gave her $20 to go play the Plinko game, which is a fundraiser, so it's fine. And she won some tickets to put in the raffle. We put her name on it. And she won 10 tickets for these raffle prizes. She won 3 prizes. I won 0. She won 3. You talk about an ecstatic young lady. She was bouncing off walls. Just wonderful that she was such a huge winner. They called her name, and she was pulling raffle tickets for others. But anyway, it was a wonderful event. Congratulations. That was the first one they've done. That was the first banquet that the Yuma Desert Doves, the Women of the Wing chapter, did. And it's to promote hunter safety, promote education, get people ready for a dove hunt. I mean, women. Yeah, they can define women. I know the Democrats can't, but, well, until it comes to abortion issues. But the ladies of this Yuma chapter of Women of the Wing, they can. And they go to Javelina hunt. They get them ready. They train them on gun safety and handling and all that. They spend months. And then take them out on a Javelina hunt and a dove hunt. What a great organization. I didn't really know anything about it, but I'll continue to support it. They did a great job. They did a great job with their banquet, and they inspired my young 5-year-old granddaughter, the terrorist. The thing that Carl called in with his 2 cents and talked about with the Roe v. Wade, and we're going to talk about it today because, man, that is something that is more. It's getting more news, more attraction, more hate, more vitriol, more crap than I would have ever believed. I mean, I knew it was going to be some stuff going on, and the Democrats started it by, there was a leak in the court system, the Supreme Court, where the leak was out on what was coming. So for months they've had to prepare for this thing. I understand there was something in Phoenix either. They had to shut the Capitol down for a little while up in Phoenix on these pro-abortion people going nuts. So I'm sure we'll spend some time on it this morning talking about some of it. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Morning, Russ.
Hey, good morning, man.
Hey, will you tell me how these evil ones on the left say the Supreme Court is illegitimate? It's funny, when the Supreme Court votes in favor of what they like, they're fine, but the minute they do something they don't like, they're illegitimate.
It's easy. In their reality, you can't disagree with them because they will cancel you, call you illegitimate, whatever. They don't care about due process. They don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about any of it.
These people don't have any souls.
I get my way, or it's illegitimate. I'll impeach you. I'll burn your house down. I'll go to your church.
I think this ruling just exposes how evil and sinister these people really are.
It's pure evil, Ronnie. It
is pure evil. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And, Russ, there is a lot of insanity in this country. I saw yesterday that some ex-editor from the USA Today says the USA Today people were retaliating because he came out and said a man can't get pregnant. And it's the truth.
That's not true anymore.
I don't mean these Frankensteins either.
Yeah, it's not true anymore because the left said they can, and yet so. Yeah.
How in the heck can a man get pregnant?
Well,
a real man.
Biologically not. Yeah, I understand.
No, it's impossible.
I understand.
So they come down on this country's insane. What's going on with these people?
Well,
are insane.
when you say this country, there's groups in this country. Yes.
Well, I should rephrase that because most of us are not that way.
No, I think the majority is not.
People are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I never dreamed I would hear such ludicrous stuff going on.
Well,
it doesn't surprise me what's going on with that ruling with the Supreme Court, But like I said, it just exposes how evil and sinister and violent these people are. Funny, when they ruled against certain things that we didn't agree with, we weren't out there burning and destroying things and beating people up and making death threats and everything else.
They do what works for them, and it rallies their base, Ronnie, and they embrace it. And the Democrats embrace the anger and the violence. And
Well, that shows you what they're really all about then, doesn't it?
and they blame it on others. It's not.
They've obviously been taken over the years by some kind of entity there. An evil entity has gone into them.
Yeah.
And I think it's just obvious. And I just saw over 1 million people now have shifted from the Democrats to the Republicans, voting-wise.
Well, that's good news. Now, hopefully we have some control over the voting and to make sure that it's honest and straightforward and fair versus the nonsense that's been going on with the harvesting ballots and all that kind of nonsense.
And it just kind of makes you laugh. The Supreme Court's illegitimate, and AOC, she's illegitimate in my opinion.
Well, she's a bartender.
she's gone. We've all known.
Buddy, she's so popular with the progressives. She's a Pied Piper.
Because she's insane, and the stuff she comes out with never makes any sense, and that's what they want.
And she's going to continue. That's not going to end.
Yeah, not unless you dump her somehow.
No, I don't think she'll get I don't think she raises more money than anybody in the far left.
Unbelievable. It's just unbelievable what goes on with that party.
Yep.
They've just gotten worse and worse and worse.
And I hope Democrats see it. I hope they see that this party's been taken over by the radical, and then they call the right radical. That's their game plan, is to point the finger at the right as being radical, which is crazy. But it doesn't have to make sense for them. It doesn't.
No. Nothing they do makes sense.
Yeah. Radical because you you support the Constitution. Radical because you took an oath and believe in it. Radical because you want to give power back to the states and to the local governments and reduce taxes. That's so radical. Crazy, right?
That's absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
It's I can't believe it. And then when you have people like old Flapjaw there, and she's instigating riots.
Maxine Waters, she's back in the news, instigating the Waters. Yeah,
haven't you heard that term in a few years?
They're calling for our Maxine Waters is calling for insurrection. Obviously,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
now,
they blame it on
what they claim Trump.
Well, Trump said
wasn't really calling for any of that, but she is.
No, Trump says peacefully. Maxine will not say peaceful.
No.
So I guess peaceful is
she needs to be gone.
Peaceful is a dog whistle for making riot, I guess. I don't know. January 6th guys could figure that out.
I can't believe it, but nothing happens to those people.
No.
That's the whole problem.
No.
Nothing is being done about it.
You're right, Ronnie. It's a problem. It's a big problem because we're a country of laws. Everyone's treated equally. And we have not been for so long now, and it's escalated now with the DOJ in the hands of Joe Biden. It has been crazy obvious. Nobody can deny it at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that there is a special place where the Hillary Clintons and Hunter Bidens and all that, they don't have to worry about anything. There's not going to be any recourse.
Not too many years ago, he was sitting there drastically putting down abortions, if you saw that.
Well, I did. In fact,
they were tragic and this and that and everything else.
I've got a tape of that, actually. I'll be playing that.
And then, good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad. But, I'm telling you, Russ, it's getting worse and worse.
It is, but you know what? We don't become them. We're not going to riot back. But
and it's good to see we're pushing back more and more and more.
But that's just it. We'll beat them at the ballot box, and we'll beat them with implementing putting the laws and putting the laws back. And you're seeing now that these radical AGs are being recalled. And hopefully that continues. People start taking their country back, start taking their states back, start taking their communities back, and stop the lawlessness, stop the dumpster fires, because at the end of the day, you got to live there.
And then you talk about the attacks on our innocent little children.
Yeah.
Kindergarten and right on up.
Well,
they're trying to do to our children.
Well, they're torturing them. They put a mask on them and send them to school. The kids are being tortured in some places, not everywhere, but they're still continuing on to harm these kids, and it's just been.
It's obvious to see that this. I don't know if you want to call it communists or left wings or whatever they want to call it, are on the move in this country.
Yeah,
and they have multiplied in their ranks.
Well, And
they're indoctrinating younger people. I know this. There's a member in our family. Well, obviously she doesn't live here. She lives in New York. That does that stuff.
Well,
somebody there was a funeral a few years ago to an uncle. Our uncle had passed away. My younger sister was at the funeral, and asked her niece there. I says, "Oh, do you have a job? Do you work?" And she goes, "Oh yeah." She says, "What do you do?" She says, "I go around the college campuses arranging protests."
Good for you. You got that in the family. That's good.
Right, and she even went down to that protest that went on the day after Trump was inaugurated, when they had Madonna there and all those other trash.
Well, that's
and she
protected.
went there and attended that. I mean, we're not really proud of that,
No, but that's protected under the
But
Constitution.
look where she's living. They moved to Upper New Jersey, and she's living in New York City. So look where and then went to Fordham, and Fordham's really turned out to be a crap hole.
Well, and she's doing what she loves. Leave her alone.
She is. Well,
I gotta run, my friend.
She'll learn, I guess.
Right,
okay, you take care.
That was Ronnie, of course, and talking about it. And he talked about Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is, of course, very disappointed in the Supreme Court and thinks it's a travesty, and he's joining suits with the rest of the radical progressive left. And it's interesting to watch him and interesting to see what's going on. But Ronnie mentioned that Joe Biden in 2006, no, it was 2006, had a different viewpoint on abortion. In fact, let me play it for you real quick.
I do not view abortion as a choice and a right. I think it's always a tragedy, and I think that it should be rare and safe. And I think we should be focusing on how to limit the number of abortions, and they ought to be able to have a common ground and consensus as to do that.
Yeah, that was Joe Biden back in 2006. He's totally in line with the progressives now. I mean, he has become, when they hired Uncle Joe, so they said, vote for me. I'm, Uncle Joe, and, I've experience, I'm centrist and all. It was a lie. He's not been centrist at all. He's been completely in bid with the as far left progressive as you can get on all his radical views, with one exception. Yeah, there's only one that I don't know that he's real strong on it, and that is packing the court. And I didn't really know that. I just assumed he was as far left as anybody because of the way he pressured, Senator Manchin and Sinema. Sinema, couldn't think of Sinema, but both of them, because they wouldn't vote for, getting rid of the filibuster. And he really pressured them. You saw all those pictures he would always call Sinema to stand with him during press conferences and whatever, and to put pressure on her. And she stood, and that's one thing Kyrsten Sinema did say, that she would vote her conscience along with Arizona. And even though she is progressive, she's actually not just followed everything lockstep. She has said no to things like packing the court. Well, I thought that was a big move. I thought to get the court packed, but yet he denies it. And this is Jean-Pierre was just asked, and that's Karine, that's the press secretary, was asked about expanding the court to offset the influence of the three judges. I mean, they're right up with it. Like, we don't like the way the court is, so we're just going to fix it by changing all the rules, which is the Democrat way. We're just going to expand it just to offset that President Trump had the opportunity as president to put three people in there. We're going to offset that by just expand it, and we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of any influence except our own. Well, she answered it, Jean-Pierre. Says, so I know I was asked this question yesterday, and I've been asked it before, and I think the president himself about expanding the court, that is something that the president does not agree with. That is not something he wants to do. And I guess I was surprised by that. I thought he was lockstep with expanding the court. Maybe I was mistaken, and I need to look and see if he said something to that effect in the past, or if he just didn't speak out against it. Ed Markey, Democrat out of Massachusetts, and this happened right after the news of the court's intent to overturn Roe leaked, when the leak was, says a stolen, illegitimate, far-right Supreme Court majority appears to set to destroy the right to abortion, an essential right which protects the health, safety, and freedom of millions of Americans. There is no other recourse. We must expand the court. Elizabeth Warren. The court has lost legitimacy. They have burned whatever legitimacy they may still have had under their gun decision, after their voting decision, after their union decision. They just took the last of it and set a torch to it. I believe we need to get some confidence back in the court, and that means we need more justices on the United States Supreme Court. It's Ed Markey of Elizabeth Warren, which are just out of control, and to attack the court system. You know, there's laws that protect the court system against all the stuff that's happening now, which is protesting and trying to influence the courts and all that, and of course the Justice Department under Biden has said that they're not going to do anything because it's under review on whether or not those laws are constitutional. And guess who's reviewing it? Yeah, the DOJ, the same one that is. So it is. It's a kangaroo court. It's protecting the kangaroo comments, and this is unconscionable. That the strides that the left has made to make the entire Justice Department completely political. President Biden called on Congress to restore abortion protections through legislation last week, saying he cannot do so from the White House, which makes you think, if he could write an executive order, obviously he would. Let me be very clear and unambiguous. The only way we can ensure a woman's right to choose the balance that existed is for Congress to restore the protection of Roe v. Wade as federal law. No executive action from the president can do that. And that was Biden's comment, which was exactly right. You can't do that. The Congress has had 50 years to pass legislation that would support a nationwide support of abortion on demand, if that's what you wanted. And of course, they've tried that over time, and usually when they try it, and the progressive do it, they put bills out there that are horrible, and that abortion up until the day of birth actually is what you see, which most everybody shrinks away from. And the whole adage of when does life start is the conversation that we've had. And Roe v. Wade was based on when does life start. And they thought it was the third trimester based on the science of the day, or whatever they interpret as the science of the day. And Roe v. Wade, I think everyone, including RBG and Ginsburg, said it was bad law. And Ginsburg was very much against court packing, that it was not a solution. In fact, that issue came up quite a bit before she passed, that court packing was not something she would support. So even though you had a lot of progressive judges like Ginsburg, they still supported the law that binds us together, that makes the country work. And she was friends with the people she disagreed with. But I think the current progressives want to end that. The friendship is over. They want to, you're either with me or against me attitude, and cancel culture, visit you in your church, dox you, all those kind of things. It's going on. We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
There's something happening here.
Lots of sunshine for us today. Seasonably hot temperatures expected to reach a high up around 105 this afternoon, which is right about where we should be this time of year. A bit of a south breeze at times, especially heading through the afternoon between about 10 and 20 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies as we head through tonight. Temperatures drop down only into the middle to upper 80s. Another sunny day tomorrow with a bit of a south breeze. 108 tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday, Thursday, mostly sunny skies. Temperatures top out between 107 and 112. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Inflation's running rampant, driven up by out-of-control government spending. Senator Mark Kelly cast the deciding vote for President Biden's nearly $2 trillion spending spree. Incredibly, Kelly says the reckless spending he voted for isn't really a problem. But President Obama's economic advisors blame the Kelly-Biden wasteful spending spree for ramping up inflation. Obama's top economic advisor called it, quote, the least responsible economic policy in 40 years. Even the liberal media admit Senator Kelly and President Biden's spending spree, quote, worsened inflation. But Kelly and Biden won't slow down the spending. They want to spend trillions more, making a bad situation worse. Call Senator Mark Kelly at 202-224-2235 and tell him to oppose the Senate liberals' reconciliation package. Tell Senator Kelly, stop the reckless spending to stop inflation. Paid for by One Nation, onenationamerica.org.
Spectrum is America's leading internet provider, delivering ultra-fast gig speeds you need on the high-performance network you want. And Spectrum's advanced home Wi-Fi is security made simple, automatically blocking outside threats, along with 99.9% network reliability. So no matter what you do online, you can do it faster, safer, and more reliably with Spectrum Internet. Get 200 megabits per second for only $49.99 a month. Visit Spectrum.com today for details. Based on internet subscribers among top internet service providers. Restrictions apply.
Hi, this is Tony Gwynn Jr., excited to be on 560 KBLU for San Diego Padres baseball. Get the games here and get the complete game schedule at KBLUAM.com.
Padres baseball on KBLU is brought to you in part by Paradise Casino Sportsbook. There's nowhere better to place your bets than Paradise Casino Sportsbook. So much, so close.
Every day, helping, connecting, saving. Every day at APS, we're here to help you save energy and money. Find a variety of savings tips that work with your APS rate plan during the summer and all year round. Get rebates on smart thermostats and more for your home or business. Pay about the same amount every month with budget billing and get help paying your bill with the APS Energy Support Program and other assistance options. For even more ways to save, visit aps.com/brighter.
Broadcast radio continues to be a staple of marketing plans for all varieties of business. Just listen to these results. 22% increase in top of mind awareness for an online-only retailer. 20% increase in brand consideration for a weight loss brand. How about a 28% increase in web traffic for a rubbish removal company? Yeah, this stuff works. Learn how it can work for your business. Sign up for our free business e-tips and learn how to not only reach more people, but connect with more people more often with the power of radio at yumaadvertising.com.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark is back with you. It's Monday morning, 6:37. Phone lines are open. 344-5258. 344-5258. One of the listeners put in here questioning whether the 28th Amendment on abortion would be next. Well, that would be one way. You know, that's a legitimate way to put that in the Constitution, basically. The amendment is our opportunity to augment, change, whatever in the Constitution. That would be, but the left doesn't have anywhere near the support for those kind of things, so they would rather do it through the court system. Just do it through the court system and say it was part of the Constitution all along, you just didn't see it, which it's not. It's not there. And it was... activism 50 years ago to put Roe v. Wade in there was just kind of a bad deal. And now that it was set aside, and that does not mean an end to abortions, by the way. Now, Roe v. Wade, just all it does is put it back to the states, and the states can do whatever the states are going to do. And some states are saying that, they want to become a vacation destination for free abortions, and that their taxpayers in that state will pay for it. Well, it's fine. You've got that opportunity to vote that in. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. But yeah, you can do that all day long if you want to do. You can give away abortions as long as it's legal in your state, and you get the right legislatures. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, OG here.
Good morning, OG.
Yeah. Say, the states, isn't that where we the people reside?
Well, yeah, we're a United States, and the states are. Yeah.
But you take away the 17th Amendment, we'd all be a sovereign state, and that's where the people live. So the people in each state get to decide if they want to kill babies or not.
Correct. They do. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. If you want
I think these women haven't read the Constitution, apparently, because if they had read it, actually, they're better off now since the Supreme Court struck it down. Let me explain how that works.
they
have a better chance against the state government of getting abortions than they do against the federal government because it takes more votes.
It's worse than that, OG. It's not just the women that are protesting. It's also the women that have been elected to Congress. AOC, Elizabeth Warren. It's like they haven't read, they don't understand the Constitution they took the oath to.
Yeah, Russ, yes, I'm sure they understand it. They're a communist. A communist is going to be against the United States no matter what it does.
Again, I think you're right.
Yeah, I am. I know I am because I talk to these people. The first thing out of their mouths when you talk to anybody, you can walk away assured they are a freaking communist. When you walk up to start talking about like the Second Amendment, and they'll tell you right off, I don't talk politics. And I get to say, are you freaking stupid or what?
Yeah.
And, of course, you can't do that, but I can because I got, I'm 80 years old. But like I said, though, this Roe versus Wade was...
Oh, shoot. My apologies, OG. I didn't mean to do that. I have two callers online, or did, but now I got one. Hung up on OG. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Marcy, Russ.
Marcy, good morning.
I'm going to change the subject a little bit.
Go right ahead.
We're all looking at where our money is and how you can use it. Well, we had an experience this weekend where we wanted to get a generator because when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow, you don't have anything to charge your batteries with, right?
Right.
Okay. So we tried to do it through online, through phone calls, and it's the Home Depot's system wouldn't let it go through on our credit card.
Why is that?
And because I called my credit card company, and they said they're having a lot of trouble with Home Depot because of their security. Well, the first thing they ask is, do you have a Home Depot credit card? No. So evidently, these big companies are going to try to control how they handle their money. And if everything goes digital, we're shit up the creek.
Hey.
Now, that's just...
I know. Watch that colorful language there, Marcy. Hey, but they're a private business. They could do what they want. I'm just shocked about it. Because I go to Home Depot all the time. I charge. Maybe it's changed, though.
Yeah, well, then my husband... We drove, it was a 100-mile round trip. Yeah, we have a generator. And the generators are disappearing, these portable generators, because people are getting ready for the brownouts and blackouts.
So people
by the time...
they're stealing them?
No, they're buying them up.
Oh, buying them up, okay.
They're out of stock all over.
Yeah.
We can get them out of Indonesia, but forget that. I ain't going to go overseas. You know, you'd never get here. But anyway, I thought, and then I am so proud of our Second Amendment ruling.
Yeah.
So proud of that. And it was brought up yesterday. Does that make it reciprocity to go from state to state? Good question. Love you, Russ. I just had to call in and
Marcy.
let people know that, hey, when you need something and you can't get it, it really puts you in a bind. And we've been dry camping for over 20 years.
Wow.
In our motorhome.
Uh-huh.
And when you don't have a generator, when there's clouds, no sun, and we have a wind generator, and there's no wind, what are you going to do?
Wow, you really are independent then. You're off the grid.
Except for the telephone and that, and Verizon did put a tower up, but you have to pay an arm and a leg to get internet.
Well, don't worry about that because it's coming very quickly. Elon Musk has got that Skylink, and it's going to be in Arizona sometime very soon. It's going to be within the next month or two. It'll be right here in Arizona.
But is that affordable for us old people that are on?
It's not free. And I tell you,
I know that.
The thing,
nothing is free. Nothing. Nothing.
Marcy, I think it's a $500 for the equipment, and then I think it's like $90 a month. So it's not free, but it's available everywhere. You know, I mean, you can go anywhere out in the desert and have internet.
Yeah, well, that's what we're waiting for. We're looking for that. You know, they have the Patriot one that we checked into that, and it doesn't even reach this area at all. You know, trying to get away from these big companies. You know, I can remember I turned 80. Russ.
Oh my, good for you.
Well, yeah, and I come to the conclusion I quit seeing doctors.
Okay.
I don't trust our government.
Yeah.
And I keep everything when I need something and I think it's going to not be on the shelves. I buy extra every time I go to town, and I've got a barn full now.
All right. Well, you're in good shape then. I appreciate the call, Marcy. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
We'll be right back. And apologies to OG, man. I hit a button wrong and I hung up on him. We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
What's the best audio service you never have to pay for? Local Arizona Radio. No subscriptions, no user passwords, no internet required. Just hours of great music, local Arizona news, sports, and more. Up and down your AM/FM dial. Listen in your car, on your smartphone, or your smart speaker. When you plug into local radio, you get great free programming and you support your community. Find your favorite Arizona stations today at plugintoaz.com.
This is it, your last chance to win the new $15 million prize of a lifetime from Publishers Clearinghouse. There is just one day left to enter to win $15 million on June 30th. So you must enter at PCH.com before it's too late. $15 million, all for you. But time is running out, so enter now at PCH.com. The $15 million prize of a lifetime. Don't miss your last chance to win it this June 30th. Enter now at PCH.com. Entries due 6/28. No purchase necessary. Prize paid at least $390,000 annually. Void or prohibited.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole-in-one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark with you. It's 6:47 on a Monday morning. You know, we're talking a little bit about this abortion thing. Actually, it's a Roe v. Wade thing, but it's been labeled as an anti-abortion. You know, the Supreme Court is taking that away, which they did not. They just took it away from the making it a federal rule. It's now a state thing. And there's been a lot of threats, a lot of craziness going on. Some of the worst is happening out there on Reddit. Reddit is a social platform, but they apparently don't have the same rules as Facebook and Twitter and some of the others. Some of the alarming stuff going on there. There's a organization called Workers Strike Back. It's a leftist, anti-capitalist, socialist organization. It's dedicated to support worker strike, protests, unions all over the world. Well, they're posting the home addresses of the Supreme Court Justices Brett Kavanaugh, Clarence Thomas, John Roberts, Sam Alito, Amy Coney Barrett, and Neil Gorsuch. Of course, they only do that. That's called doxing. You dox them. You put that out there in order to cause problems for the people you don't agree with. So that's what they're doing. They're sticking that out there to their listeners, and I can't even believe that's allowed out there. I mean, there's laws against such things of harassing and trying to influence Supreme Court. I think that stuff's all illegal. At least it's in the books to be illegal. We're not enforcing it, obviously. Well, it received 27,000 upvotes. People say, yes, good for you, putting that out there. 2,000 comments to the post. Some suggested violence. One Reddit user suggested that they hunt the Supreme Court justices at their churches, find their churches. The area where they live in is super wealthy, and they all definitely are part of local bloated churches. Find their churches. They can never be free because you track when they're home by when they go to their local church. One user asked, where's their second homes? Now, mail carrier that obviously follows Reddit, and a leftist mail carrier, wrote, don't use the mail service to deliver bombs to the Supreme Court justices, but called on, we need more direct action. He said, socialist mailmen here, please don't send anything that could hurt your mail handlers. Somebody wrote an answer to him saying, accidental tearing happens to mail all the time. I would encourage more direct action at a time like this. And I guess they're suggesting that the mail carrier tear open their mail or harass them. Again, there's laws against all of this that are not being enforced. Let's see another Reddit. 6 of the fascist creeps, fascists now. A mere 330 million of us. Why are we putting up with this? This is a blanky war now. Politicians are way too comfortable in this country when they're willing to break the precedent and go against 70% of the population to fit their own agenda. Maybe it's time they feel less comfortable and safe. And I like that one because it labeled the Supreme Court justices as politicians. They're not. They're not politicians. They're specifically taken out of the political roles. And they're a third branch of government that is isolated from politics until the Democrat progressives are making it all political and bringing them into the political fray and trying to influence them like they would a politician. And there were some comments out there about violence is not the answer. But another one said, need to target the police because they'll be enforcing the abortion bans. I don't know where this abortion ban is. Which abortion ban? And this is where this Roe v. Wade is completely misunderstood. It's not an abortion ban. It did away with addressing the abortions federally. You can't. It took that out. TikTok user hinted at using pipe bombs. So social media has gone nuts, but I think it's a reflection of where the politicians are pushing it. The politicians are pushing them into those corners. And I don't think there's much doubt about that directly. I mean, from Joe Biden and our Harris, Pelosi, Maxine Waters, to name just a few. I want to talk about Bill Maher. I'll save that. I don't have enough time. But pro-abortion women threaten a strike over the Roe v. Wade reversal. And they called for a sex strike starting immediately. No sex with cis, straight, conservative men. Men who aren't supporting our rights and fighting for this to be fixed, not until Roe v. Wade is viewed as a constitutional right. And I guess these people are completely confused when they say constitutional right. It's not in the Constitution. If it is, point it out to me. I've read it, and I don't see where that in there. I live in New York, and I'm doubly furious with the Supreme Court. I want to find people who are coordinating a mass sex strike. That is our power. course, it goes on and on with obscenities and everything else, complaining about that. Let me take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ, I must have cut myself off.
No, it was me, buddy. I did it. It was my mistake. But go ahead.
Well, because I got a brand new phone. I got one that's got the buttons and everything all the way around the edges of it when you close it down, you know.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yep. You can't wear it, carry it in your pocket. Anyway, no, the only one that's Roe versus Wade in 1972. I remember it very well.
Uh-huh.
And I also remember the 50s, why they passed it. The conditions in 1972 were such that women were flying to Sweden to get abortions. I remember that most clearly because Sweden was the most popular country in the 50s to go and get an abortion in. That being said, they decided it was being rumored was that it's discriminating against poor women because back in the 50s, not everybody had money like they got today, okay? 70% of the country was rural. So the atmosphere was that it was discriminated against women. The first chance that liberal court got in 1972, they jumped on Roe versus Wade, and they passed it. And the women went nuts over it. They threw their bras away when I was saying and all that stuff, and celebrating killing babies. Even then, people frowned on it because they knew it was killing babies, what it was. What people don't understand, sex was not created by God for recreational. It wasn't. It's for procreation. And once women understand that without them, there is no humankind, there's no human race, then that's what's wrong with their egos. They're running around thinking they're like little sluts and such, okay? But they're not. Yeah. Without them, and the men on this, the states need to work on the men. For every woman that gets pregnant by a man and the DNA can trace it to him, he's got to share it in some way of the penalty, whatever is thrown out there, or the cost of it. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we teach our sons and daughters, I know you do, because you talk about them all the time, and not to be the victim of other people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
And when you do that, then you're not going to be looking around to be a victim. And right now we got a lot of women that's never read the Constitution because, like you said, and I agree with you 100%, it is not in the Constitution at all or ever. And another thing not in the Constitution, burning the flag is not a freedom of speech either.
No, it's not in there, but...
No, but they got it. They got it like... It's expression of speech. The flag burners can get away with it because of it's an expression of speech. Is what they say. Remember?
Well, that's what they say, and I guess that's up to the local laws. But
yes, it would be. That would be exactly. So yeah. So I'm thinking everything is very favorable. We need to encourage these people that are protesting right now pro-abortion that take a second look at this, because for them to change and get abortions, it's closer to them than ever. It's a state. All they got to do is go to Phoenix in Arizona and say, look, representatives, here's what we want. And they got to listen to them.
It's pretty simple, OG. It's not that big a deal.
No, it's not. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not at all. In other words, the women in Oklahoma voted to not have abortions, then that's Oklahoma.
Yep.
So you don't need to. So if you're a liberal, you don't move to Oklahoma.
Right, and you move to Illinois, California, Oregon, Washington. You know, you can get all the abortions you want.
This is the idea of having 50 sovereign states, my friend.
Yep, absolutely. I agree with you, buddy. Appreciate the call.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye. You know, OG mentioned Sweden, and I remember hearing about that. And I was a teenager in the 70s, but I knew Sweden was like that. And here's the law in Sweden, just so you know. The Swedish Abortion Act of 1975 gives all women the right to an abortion up to 18 weeks of pregnancy. Now, I bet that's going to surprise a lot of pro-abortion people. Remember how nuts they went when Texas changed theirs to 15 weeks? That it was just horrible, 15 weeks. Well, that's very common in Europe. I've heard of 16s, 18 weeks. Abortion is not a free-for-all in the European countries like a lot of these pro-abortion people in the United States would have you think that other countries, because they're more open or something, they just allow abortion on demand right up till birth, like many legislatures in this country have requested. They put in bills to have it a woman's right to abort up until the day of to the day of delivery, which is ridiculous. European countries aren't doing that. That's not what it is, including Sweden. Sweden is 18 weeks. And after that, it is not legal. We will be back. It's already an hour's already gone. I'll be back after this. AM 560, KBLU.
Come on in, boys, sit on down and tell me about yourself. So you...
From the 1 hour air conditioning and heating studio, this is News Talk 560 KBLU, Yuma.
Mississippi's Attorney General takes action. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, signing a ban on abortion into effect 10 days from now after the Supreme Court's Friday ruling overturned the federal legal rights.
The state attorney general in Mississippi is now certifying the state's law already on the books that should Roe be overturned, abortion would cease to be legal. 13 states have these so-called trigger laws, which stop abortions once the constitutionality issue is resolved.
That's Fox's Evan Brown. Now in Florida, Planned Parenthood's in court this morning trying to block that state's new law from taking effect this Friday, banning abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy. Now, the issue has Democrats fired up.
Most of them are still trying to encourage voters to get out the vote this November, while others are taking it much further. They're saying that the GOP is going to rig the election. They're calling to abolish the filibuster, and they're even raising this question about whether or not it's time to impeach the justices.
Yes, Fox's Aisha Hasni. The Supreme Court is about to issue more opinions any minute. There are 7 cases still undecided this term.
One case has to do with religious liberty. In Kennedy versus Bremerton High School, football coach Joe Kennedy sued after he was let go from his job after praying on the field after games. An immigration case may determine if a lower court judge was correct in ordering the Biden administration to restart the Trump-era Remain in Mexico program. Missouri and Texas argued that the burden undocumented migrants place on their states means the program is necessary to make asylum seekers wait out their cases in Mexico.
And Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. President Biden and world leaders have pledged to help Ukraine at the G7 summit for as long as it takes to fend off the Russian invasion. A trial date's been set in Russia for American basketball star Brittany Griner, July 1st, Friday. She's charged with transporting drugs and faces up to 10 years in prison after being detained in Moscow in February, accused of having vape cartridges carrying cannabis oil. America's listening to Fox News.
Life is about being active. Whether it's about going on your daily tasks or exercising, you know you're well when you're regularly active. But what happens when being active actually hurts by the end of the day? This is the position I found myself in a number of years ago. Everything I wanted to do in my daily life, all of the activity it called for, was held captive to almost constant nagging pain. When I heard about Relief Factor, I was skeptical, but my wife said, give it a chance. Not long after I took it, I could feel the pain begin to melt away, and I've been taking it ever since. And I can tell you that Relief Factor has helped me get my life back. I love that it's not a drug, but it was developed by doctors, and about 70% of the people who try it go on to order more. Your first step to becoming pain-free just might be ordering a 3-week quick start for only $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF, 800-4RELIEF, or ReliefFactor.com. Find out all about this offer and feel the...
Here's the news in 60 seconds from YumaDailyNews.com. The Supreme Court has ended constitutional protections for abortion that has been in place for nearly 50 years. The outcome could lead to abortion bans in roughly half the states. Read more about the decision, YumaDailyNews.com. Yuma's Most Wanted has been posted on the website. Find out this week's lineup of suspects that authorities want to see behind bars. The rap sheets have been included. Take a look at YumaDailyNews.com. More kids have been checking into a hospital in Florida after accidentally eating foods laced with THC. Pediatricians in Orlando say they found Captain Crunch, Cocoa Pebbles, and Starburst with traces of drugs. More on this later today, YumaDailyNews.com. The Padres continue their series against Philadelphia tonight. The game's first pitch at Petco is at 7:10. Machado has been out 4 straight games because of a sprained left ankle.
Get the latest Padres news on the website and listen to the game later today live on our talk station, AM 560 K-Blue. Follow us on Facebook at Yuma Daily News for the latest local and state news in Yuma and in Arizona. That's the news for now. I'm Kendra White.
Your next sports bet is closer than ever at Paradise Sportsbook. Kick back and experience live sports betting right in Yuma. There's nowhere better to place your bet. So much action, so close to home. Paradise Casino. Must be 21 and older. Management reserves all right. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP 24/7 for problem gambling.
When it's hot, the last thing you want is your home's AC to quit on you. At 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating, our team of comfort specialists take the frustration out of
The Equation. From simple repairs to more complex fixes, we'll get you cool and comfortable quickly. Just call 928-783-4242 or visit onehourYuma.com.
Always on time, or you don't pay a dime. Always on time, or you don't pay a dime.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
Watch out. You might get what you're after. Cool babies. Strange but not a stranger. I'm an ordinary guy. Burning down the house.
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you. It's Monday morning. Hyundai of Yuma advertises on the show. And don't forget, they're also Kia of Yuma and Genesis of Yuma. And all three of them are under the banner of Hyundai. Yeah. And one group owns them, and that's the Hyundai of Yuma. They're all by the same owner, a veteran-owned business that wants to make sure they take care of the people here in Yuma, local-owned business. The way to get to know what car is to get out and drive it. I mean, sure, the engineers have worked on it to make the America's Best Warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles, 10 years, 100,000 effective. But is it a good car to drive? Absolutely. And I didn't know that until I took a drive. I had shunned Hyundai for years because I guess I drove them way back when, before the engineers got into work and make them not just reliable but also enjoyable. So get behind the wheel, tell them I sent you, and go see Hyundai of Yuma. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Russ. I thought I'd try to shed a little light on the abortion situation, where the question is now turned back to the states, as you mentioned so well earlier. And people are talking about rights, and people have said, well, abortion is not in the Constitution. It doesn't mention abortion in the Constitution. But the argument that the other side would make is that you have the Ninth Amendment, which says that all those rights which are not mentioned may still be retained by the people.
Yeah.
And the reason that abortion doesn't fit there is the way that you determine if those rights are retained by the people is, did they have those rights when the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was ratified? That's what the court looks at historically. They say, well, is this something that was generally recognized as a right of people? A right to privacy in some sense is in there, but abortion definitely is not, because there were laws against abortion from colonial times on up. So it was, and it's not just isolated. In 1973, I think there were something like 20-some or 40-some states. There was a lot of states that banned abortion at the time. And they had been doing so for generations. So it wasn't just a new thing. It had never been the right of a woman to have an abortion had never been recognized in the Constitution or by the people generally before the Constitution was ratified. And that's what they look at. It's not just, was it mentioned? It's, did it exist? Did people think of it as a right before then?
Right. Yeah, and so, I guess I'd heard that Ninth Amendment argument before, and nobody pays attention to the Ninth Amendment, and it just clarifies. I think it's just one of those cleanup things that because it's not mentioned, it doesn't mean that the federal government owns any rights. The people own the rights.
The people own the rights, and this is another thing people talk. And I've made the point, and I'm hoping people will start realizing it. States do not have rights. States have powers. They have the power. They're granted by us, the people, power to do certain things. They don't have rights.
Right.
And the same thing for the federal government. The government has certain powers that are mentioned in the Constitution. And then the 10th Amendment clarifies that. It says if just because the federal government has powers doesn't mean they have all power. The states or the people have powers that are not relegated to the federal government. So
Right. And anything not mentioned in the Constitution is it's under the venue of the states. The states figure that out for themselves.
Or the people. You
Yeah.
know, it's
which
not
is the
just
states.
entirely
Yeah.
to the states. And so that is the structure that we operate under. And the whole point of the Roe v. Wade decision, in my opinion, was just to put forward progressive ideas that the Constitution doesn't really matter. It can mean whatever we say it means. And if we want to create a new constitutional right out of nothing, because we say so, then we can do it. And finally, after almost 50 years, the strict constructionist and textualist originalist majority is on the court. I would say it's actually been close to 88 years. The progressive majority took effect about shortly after, I think, late in the first term of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, about 1937 or so. And we've been suffering under a progressive court for that entire period. And I can remember my entire life, people would say, how can the court make a decision like this? This isn't in the Constitution, or this doesn't make sense, or well, how can they do that? Well, they can do it because the progressive philosophy was the Constitution is an impediment that we have to work around to get what we want.
Yes.
And that's been basic progressive philosophy for 100 years.
Yeah, and I think most of the people that are spouting about the Constitution have never read it from the sound of it.
Well, or they haven't read it, or they haven't studied it, or they just don't understand the philosophy behind it. And remember that a whole lot of these people have this progressive attitude is it's a, quote, living document, and the reason to call it a living document is so we can change it the way we want it without going through the amendment process.
Yeah.
We changed it something like 20 times by the amendment process, so it's not impossible. If you want to put a right to abortion in the Constitution, go through the amendment process.
Well, you don't even have to do that. You can put it in the state if you want, or you could put it. You could make a federal law, but they've never been able to.
No, you can't make a federal law because the federal government is
it's driven by the Constitution. Correct.
To regulate abortion. It's a state power.
Yeah.
And that's what this part of what this decision said. It belongs to the states. Well, you can't just take it away from the states and give it to the federal government because you say we want to. That would be struck down, I would presume, reasonably quickly.
Yep.
Oh, and under the Second Amendment, we have the state of California is now saying, the AG over there, well, just because we can't deny somebody on they have to have some good reason, there's other stuff. They might have said something bad on a social media post, and that would mean that they don't have good moral character. Or, suppose they were arrested sometime in the past 5 years. Even if they weren't convicted, they must not have good moral character if they got arrested. So you guys out there in sheriff's departments and police departments, be sure to look real close at moral character.
He needs to go away. Of course, he's being recalled.
I am paraphrasing it a little bit.
Yeah.
I could read it. I'm working on an article on it. I could quote you exactly. Here's part of it as quote. When it comes to evaluating an applicant's moral character, however, the issue is not whether the applicant meets the minimum qualifications to own or possess firearms under other statutory criteria. Good moral character is a distinct question that requires an independent determination. So,
great.
And he lists a bunch of other stuff, but that'll go into a longer article. People can find it at AMLN, hopefully within a couple days.
I guess you've got to be busy right now. There's been so many things going on to write about.
It is, but of course everybody's writing about the Bruin decision. I have got an article out there that it'll probably be published soon. My publisher asked me to write it. It's there waiting to be published, so
Yeah.
Presumably, it'll be published on Animal Land reasonably soon. And this is changing the whole structure, and it is a watershed moment in the court. And I think people who have wanted to return to constitutional government are seeing some fruit of their labors. And hopefully we will continue, because I think that's the only way we manage to continue to exist as a nation.
Yep. And we'll see if we can get around all these dumpster fires and anger and burnings and all these crazy politicians that are calling for it. And
there are good signs. Those are signs that we are making progress.
yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. It's a sign we're making progress, because they're frustrated that they're not getting their way. We'll be right back. AM 560, KBLU.
Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros have been serving Arizona for over 20 years. Dune season is here, so ask about specialty tires for your toys. We also do alignments, brakes, oil changes, AC work, inspections, preventive maintenance, and more. Get your tires at any of our 4 Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros locations. Or use the Tire Finder online at edwhiteheadstirePros.com. Choose the perfect tire and make your appointment today. We also have free pickup and drop-off for your hassle-free experience guaranteed. Ed Whitehead's Tire Pros. Yeah, we got tires for that.
Listen right here on 560 AM KBLU from 8 to 9 a.m. every Monday morning to Life, Death, and the Law, where Sean Garner and Adam Hansen discuss estate planning options. Spend Monday mornings 8 to 9 a.m. with Sean and Adam from Deason, Garner, and Hansen, and learn how you can plan your estate using a will or a trust to protect your family and secure your legacy. That's Life, Death, and the Law every Monday morning from 8 to 9. Right here on 560 AM KBLU.
Marketers are learning consumers trust radio more than any online sources. Marketers are using more traditional advertising outlets to build brand credibility and loyalty. Jaded buyers like me and you are looking for people we know and trust, and we can find them on radio. On radio, no one is tracking you. Learn how your business can benefit from free over-the-air broadcast radio. Sign up for our free business e-tips and learn not only how to reach more people, but connect with more people more often with the power of radio at yumaadvertising.com.
This is it, your last chance to win the new $15 million prize of a lifetime from Publishers Clearinghouse. There is just one day left to enter to win $15 million on June 30th. So you must enter at PCH.com before it's too late. $15 million, all for you. But time is running out, so enter now at PCH.com. The $15 million prize of a lifetime. Don't miss your last chance to win it this June 30th. Enter now at PCH.com. Entries due 6/28. No purchase necessary. Prize paid at least $390,000 annually. Void or prohibited.
And he looks at her and says, hey, darling, I can remember when you could stop a cloud. Oh, but ain't that America? You and
AM 560, KBLU. Russ Clark back with you on a Monday morning, 7:16. The gas prices are up. I know some ridiculous going on about let's get rid of the federal tax for a little bit and we'll be so much better off to save that 18 cents and hurt the funds that are supposed to fix roads and things. But that's just a distraction. The price has much more than doubled since Mr. Biden has taken the realm, because he hates gas and fossil fuels, and he's attacked them. And it's working, Joe, because the prices are going way up. And because of that, something to be careful about, Americans are now stealing a lot of gas. I'd forgotten about that during the 70s and all, when a lot of that gas stealing was going on. It's already working out that same way. People are physically taking gas from pumps and other vehicles. Now, I never thought of it taken from the pumps before, but these there was some way that I guess some people have hacked some of the electronics at the gas pumps. It doesn't go into any specifics there. But they're doing that, and another way they're doing it is parking over, taking like a van with a tank inside the van that you can't see, and they park over the area where the fuel trucks pump the gas into the ground. Each fuel location has its own storage tanks in the ground, and they take the cap off of that from inside the van so you can't see them, and they just put a hose down there and they pump the gas up into the van and then drive away and then resell it. Jeff Leonard, he's Vice President of Strategic Industry Initiatives at the National Association of Convenience Stores. He said, there is no Robin Hood in this. These are thieves. They are not robbing from the rich, giving to the poor. The gas station owner is the least responsible for high prices. The cost of thefts gets passed on to higher prices when people are driving around with unsecured stolen fuel. It is a concern to everybody. I mean, it's also dangerous. There's been a lot of people getting burned, a lot of people, accidentally cause fires or something. They're usually are the ones that are hurt by that. So, particularly when they're taking it out of cars, and there's been some video of those things. In Virginia Beach earlier this month, the police observed numerous vehicles using devices to pump gas from a Citgo gas station that was closed. Yeah, it was closed at the time, but I guess people knew how to hack it or get into it, and it was determined the devices were being used to illegally pump to access gas pumps, and then sell the gasoline at a discounted rate through a phone application and other advertising the operation on social media. So, social media. Now, Jeff Leonard, the guy with the convenience stores, the Vice President of Strategic Industry Initiative, said that 25% of gas retailers have experienced an increase in gas thefts compared to last year. And no more did they just, I remember a time when you used to go to the gas station, you would pump your own gas and then go in and pay for it. Well, those days are long gone. You don't do that anymore. So I don't know how they're stealing it other than through these other means of pumping it out of the ground with other devices. And something you need to be careful of, they're taking it from personal cars too, personal trucks and things like that. And in fact, I've seen it where they're actually puncturing the gas tank itself and collecting whatever gas they want as it runs out of the tank. They'll catch it in a funnel or something. And when they get whatever they want, they walk away, leaving the remainder of the tank to empty out onto the ground. Not safe. Not safe at all. But that's been going on. And they were. This article talks about one vehicle on June 12th where the guy tried to siphon gas out of a truck. They had already stolen the catalytic converter. We know that's been going rampant. That's been in the news a lot. Catalytic converters, if you haven't had yours stolen, you're lucky. But a lot of catalytic converters, and that's a high dollar repair to repair that. He stole the catalytic converter, and then he went ahead to siphon the gas out. Well, we couldn't do it, so he drilled the gas tank, which is what I'm talking about, and it caught fire. Well, drilled the gas tank. So, and of course, he got injured from the whole thing because you're drilling the gas tank, you could have gas all over yourself and the sparks from the drill. So yeah, I wouldn't try any of that stuff. Jeff Swayback with the Los Angeles Police Department said these thieves are very sophisticated. They will take a truck that looks like a normal truck, like a freeway service truck, and then put have intricate piping inside them. They will open up the gas pump itself, and there's a series of gears inside there, and they're smart enough to figure out how to manipulate the gears. So they go up to service the pump, or it looks like they're servicing the pump, and steal the gas. Stuff I never would have thought about. Fuel retailers should be looking for people lingering outside, parking over your underground storage tanks for extended periods of time, those kind of things. And with gas, and gas is just going to go up. I mean, sure, we may have an 18 cents reduction for a short period, but that's going to be made up quickly, as these gas issues continue on. Thanks to Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe, we appreciate all that stuff. We do. Phone lines are open, 344-5258. Russia just defaulted on their foreign debt for the first time since 1918. I'm curious as to what happens next, but let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Hey, Russ.
Good.
Funny you're talking about them stealing gas.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was sitting there. Oh, man. It was rough. I had to fuel up.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It is rough. Get your wallet out.
But the tanker had pulled in right in front of me. And I was honestly going to ask the guy, hey, any of you guys gotten hijacked yet?
I imagine that's going to happen if it hasn't happened yet. That would be – I never even thought about that. But, yeah, that would be
Do you remember when Carter was president and prices of gas were, like, extremely high for that time?
Yeah, they were.
They were hijacking gas trucks.
Oh, they were. I didn't remember. I was in high school, but I remember the lines on the shortage. I would have to take my dad's car and get in line because sometimes those lines it would take you a half hour, 45 minutes to get up to the pump, and then you only do the odd even days. Remember all that? Well, we're gonna be back there at the rate we're going. But I never thought about the hijacking the tankers. Those guys have just got hazardous duty pay increase, I imagine.
I hope so.
Yeah, buddy. Appreciate it, man. Thanks.
All right,
bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah, that's some of that. I remember the panic at the time from the gas pump people. The gas stations, convenience stores, and all that. The gas pumps of the day didn't look anything like the digital stuff we have now. They were very, very mechanical looking. And they couldn't go over $1 a gallon. So, and that was the panic. A lot of them were not designed to ever reach $1 a gallon. They didn't foresee gas ever being that high. The gas would actually be over at $1 a gallon. I think the first time I filled up my car when I was 16, gosh, it must have been 20, 30 cents a gallon or so. But that was short-lived. I mean, by the time I needed a little more gas, it went up quickly. That was during the 70s. And I remember the news was, well, how are they going to retrofit all of these gas pumps to be able to be over $1 a gallon? They don't have that problem anymore. They can, in fact, they don't even do it manually anymore. It's just, I'm sure it's just push buttons on a computer somewhere where they change the signs out in front of the building as well as the pumps and everything else. It's just computers that do that. I heard about a guy getting fired the other day, a manager of a convenience store. Yeah, he changed the price to $5.50, but he put the decimal in the wrong place in the computer. So he was selling it for 55 cents instead of $5.50. Honest mistake. He lost his job over it, and I guess they lost a lot of gas. I mean, people no one said anything. I mean, honestly, if that had happened, I'd have walked in and said something. I said, "Do you realize you're selling gas at 55 cents?" I mean, I know that I would have gotten some boos and jeers and all that, but that's, that's a small business. That's a business that needs to stay in business. You can't sell for 55 cents and buy it for $4 a gallon or $5 a gallon, whatever they're paying for it, and say you're going to make a profit, make it up in volume. You can't do that. So that company lost money, and probably a good manager that made a mistake. I don't know that it required firing, but maybe it was the last straw. Maybe he already had some issues. I don't know. I remember reading the story. It didn't say a lot more than just that. Before I take a break, I was talking about the outrageous of the attacks on the Supreme Court justices. And they have been by politicians. Politicians have been attacking. I'm going to play a clip from AOC asking for impeachment of the Supreme Court justices. And then I'll just go right into break. I'll be right back. AM 560 KBLU.
We had two conservative senators in the United States Senate, Senator Manchin and Senator Collins, come out with a very explosive allegation that several Supreme Court justices misled them during their confirmation hearings. I believe lying under oath is an impeachable offense.
Seasonably hot here for the start of the week, a little hotter through midweek. Lots of sunshine out there today. A bit of a south breeze at times. Temperatures this afternoon all the way up to around 105. Clear skies here tonight, warm, middle to upper 80s. Temperatures remain up over 100 as we head through the week. Sunshine for us tomorrow, 108. Mostly sunny skies both Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be a little hotter both afternoons, with afternoon highs ranging between 107 and 112. I'm meteorologist Ken Boone at the Weather Channel.
Get your rock on July 4th. Celebrate our independence at Joe Orduño Park in San Luis, Arizona.
Hi, I'm Angelica Roldan with the City of San Luis. Join us for Las Calacas, Víctimas del Doctor Cerebro, and El Gran Silencio. Doors open at 5 p.m. for a special needs community, and event starts at 6 p.m.
4th of July will be a free, fun family night with games, food, refreshments, and fireworks. Celebrate our independence Monday, July 4th at Joe Orduño Park in San Luis, Arizona for the 4th of July Freedom Celebration.
Manufacturers in the U.S. are driving the economy and rebuilding supply chains amid historic worker shortages and record cost increases. But now, Congress is threatening to raise taxes on manufacturers and small businesses. Taxes won't strengthen supply chains, promote energy security, or spur new investments and fill vacant jobs. Tell Congress to say no to taxes that would devastate small manufacturers and family businesses. Paid for by the National Association of Manufacturers.
The Border Report brought to you by RV World, located on Gila Ridge Road. Exit Interstate 8 on Araby Road, then head west on Gila Ridge about a quarter mile. RV World, Yuma's premier recreational vehicle dealer since 1991, offering a large selection of new and used RVs. At YumaDailyNews.com, we have updated border reports anytime you need them for passenger vehicles, pedestrian traffic, whatever it might be, standard lanes, century lanes, and the port of entries you need. It's all updated whenever you want it at YumaDailyNews.com.
Look, the second...
AM 560 KBLU. Russ Clark back with you on a Monday morning, 7:30 in the morning. And in newspaper this morning, there's a couple things I just want to talk about. One is right on the front page of the paper is don't disturb feral cat colonies. What a touchy situation, but there's more than 800 known feral cat colonies. I didn't know there were that many. 800? And they're all being cared for, and there's people that run around and feed these cats. I mean, they're very serious about it. They love the cats and want to protect them, and they get them neutered and spadered, and they go around and spend a lot of money in cat food and just driving every day to make sure they're all taken care of. But God bless them. But I don't like them. I just. The feral cats, in some cases, in some areas, just get completely out of control. And, if you feed them like that, and they're just going to grow and multiply like crazy. And, of course, now that they're, they don't get to all of them to neuter them and to spade them. They don't. And so, obviously, there's a lot of kittens out there, I guess, this time of year. And they're just telling people to leave them alone. The moms or whatever are out, foraging for food, and they'll be back. And there's a lot of food out there. I mean, these people will put food out for these feral cats. The businesses they used to do it at the business I'm at, but we had, oh my goodness, it was a feral cat colony, just huge, and we asked them to stop feeding them, and I changed the fencing around. So they couldn't crawl under or get through the fence at all anymore. They couldn't get into the property that they wanted to, be in, and force them to go to other places because we were just getting damage, lots of damage from these cats onto the cars and stuff. And it was not acceptable. So we eliminated it, and I have a dog, and I bought the dog and put. This killer dog, it's a 15-pound, Jack Russell type dog. It's a mutt, but mostly Jack Russell. And the dog does not chase cats for some reason. I don't know. But the cats will There's one cat that can climb the fence. There's one. We've got a fence around the lot, and there's one cat that will climb a chain link fence, crawl through the barbed wire to get into that lot. And I guess we kind of tolerate the one cat. And I thought the dog would keep the cat, from wanting to get in there. But, when I'm around, the dog will pretend to chase the cat, but it doesn't. It shares its water bowl and everything with the cat, I guess. So we got one for now. Hopefully that doesn't grow. One is about my maximum. That's about it. Russia, and I mentioned this, Russia has defaulted on their foreign debt for first time since 1918. Now, it failed to make 2 payments on Sunday night. Moscow missed the deadline to meet the 30-day grace period on the interest payments that were originally due May 27th, but they're still waiting on confirmation or whatever, however that works. I don't know how these things work on international. But the default signal is the first of its kind since 1918. Russia has called it artificial because it can afford. It's got the money to pay its debts, but sanctions has frozen its foreign currency reserves held abroad. There's money out there. It's also the readiness to pay, according to the financial minister. The situation artificially created because of an unfriendly country will not have any effect on Russia's quality of life. Russia's calling other countries unfriendly. As they're releasing, I don't know how much tonnage of bombs, missiles, and tanks, and everything else, that they're just destroying everything they can in Ukraine, citizens as well as military. But that invasion is like 4 months old now. The financial ministry said dollar denomination debts in rubles. He said, and that's what they've switched to is rubles. If you do, he said the opportunity for subsequent conversion to the original currency. They're paying everything. They're paying back debt in rubles. And I don't think that's what they want. But the country owes around $40 billion in foreign debt, which doesn't sound like a lot. It sounds more like just California, but about half of that is owed to foreigners. And prior to the war in Ukraine, it said this article says it had $640 billion in foreign currency and gold reserves, which much has been held overseas and it's been frozen. Well, why, if you have $640 billion, do you even borrow $40 billion? I don't know. A foreign debt default was inevitable for Russia's investors had predicted for months that Moscow would default. Insurance contracts covering Russia debt have for weeks placed an 80% likelihood the country would default. So good luck getting another opportunity to sell bonds or borrow. Not going to happen. Something else in the paper I wanted to mention. Let me see what that was. I know there was 2 articles in there. This plan to limit the recording of police. And I think we talked about that when it was first brought up by John Kavanaugh. He's a Republican out of Fountain Hills, where, he's a police officer, and he talked about the dangers of some of the opportunities that police have when they're doing, their normal job, or they're arresting somebody or having an issue, and they get surrounded by people wanting to videotape. And I guess that just is a lot more for the police officer to worry about. And was this person just videotaping? Is he here to cause more problems? So he put in a bill and originally wanted to make it a 15-foot buffer. Just give the cops a buffer to do their job. Not making it illegal to videotape by any means, but just give it a 15-foot buffer, which sounds pretty reasonable. Normally you're 15 foot back if you're videotaping something anyway. Well, that was just unacceptable, and for some reason that he had to concede to 8 feet, based on federal court rulings, which set that as the distance that protesters can be kept from entrances to abortion clinics. I guess. So it comes down to the abortion thing again. Yeah, the abortion clinic protesters have to be 8 foot away from the door. They can't block the doors. So I guess that 8-foot ruling was one that was recommended. There was some basis in federal law so that it doesn't get overturned. So the bill is out there. The HB 2319 is just awaiting Governor Ducey's signature. They would make video recording within 8 foot of any law enforcement activity. A first-time offense would get someone off with a warning. Repeat violation result in videographer behind bars for 30 days. Could be behind bars. I think that's all reasonable. I mean, if a police officer's out there and doing his job, you can't have people, inches away from him with a camera in his face. He's got a job to do, too, and it's dangerous. It could be potentially dangerous, you would think. I think it's a very reasonable one, but, of course, a lot of Democrats are fighting it, and they're opposed to this. I says, Andres Cano out of Tucson, I thought we were about being transparent. Representative Domingo de Graza out of Tucson said even the 8-foot restriction could be considered problematic. There's no clear definition of what the boundary of the law enforcement activity. You get on the ground, you get out of the community, and you're going to see situations that are all over the place. And he talked about the First Amendment right to freedom to be where you can lawfully be. Agreed. You could be lawfully, but if there's an incident with a police officer, I think it's very reasonable to not interfere with the duties of the police officer. And believe me, if you try to occupy all the space around the police officer within a few inches, I think that's interference myself. You can be anywhere you want to be, but you don't have to be there at that moment. Doctors are urging the CDC to reverse stringent COVID-19 measures for kids. It's about time. I mean, the doctors have been scared. Look how many doctors they've attacked and tried to cancel. They've gone after doctors. I say they. I mean, many hospitals have gone after them. Some of them, going after the credentialing, trying to get doctors that disagree with the narrative to be taken off the market as doctors. Well, Dr. Marty McCary told, and he was on Fox News Digital, the most defenseless people in America have been steamrolled by many COVID policies. The last people in America to be forced to wear masks were waiters, waitresses, and children. At this point, we need to stop the excessive restrictions that continue to harm children. And that's why I signed on. Now, there was a letter sent signed by many doctors to, in fact, there was 29 doctors and scientists that, the letter, of urgency, which concerns the COVID-19 measures for the U.S. Children are doing more harm than good and rejecting a holistic approach in pediatric health, which I think has been well noted and talked about, and a lot of these kids are being harmed. And they don't wear the mask when the parents aren't looking anyway. I mean, it's any effectiveness is gone. I mean, there is no effectiveness on them wearing the mask from all the studies. But Rochelle Walsky, and of course she's the Center for Disease Control Director, has declared the emergency phase of coronavirus is over and said it's time to restore equitable and maximal access to education, sports, and social connectedness for all children. Their health and well-being depend on it. Of course, that's not what a lot of states and a lot of organizations are doing, and some schools are still doing it. So what happened to the science? I mean, when you got the scientists out there saying that it's a problem, and I think it's weird that the waitresses and waiters are still wearing masks. Remember, you see all these banquets and things that the Oscars and all that, whatever some of those shows, those things are, and nobody's wearing a mask except waiters and waitresses, and that's it. Oprah doesn't wear a mask, but the people that have to surround her and make sure her dress is straight all have masks on. It's just odd. It's just very odd to do that, but that's where we are, and it just needs to stop. At this point, it's just strictly punishment. G7 leaders. I guess the group of 7 economic powers, got together for a 3-day summit. They met in the German Alps. And they spoke with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky now. And he seems to be about everywhere, virtually. He doesn't not necessarily travel all the time, but he does get out there. For a guy that's been at war now for 4 months, has had Russia, which is the second largest military in the entire world, fighting them, and Russia has sent squads in to have him killed. He's awfully visible, man. He's out there. God bless him. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Clark. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. Good morning, Edward.
You just quoted that you were against or for putting that bill together that would stop people from videotaping police officers up to 8 feet. And where you have, in your Sheriff Wilmot, from what you've told me, a good, truthful police officer. Many of us live in zones that the police are political. And Arlington County, particularly where I live, it is extremely visible, are political. And without proper payments to the right politicians, you could see a delay in response, no response. Our police here openly, as they pull you over for a traffic stop, will ask for cash.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a known fit. It has been investigated by the FBI, but it is a county issue, so hence the state has never prosecuted it. Cannot speak this morning. They will show up for Republican events, and they will prosecute and arrest anybody who would dare step across the line. But at Republican events, as over the weekend, they simply just don't come, or they arrest the Republicans inside for causing problems.
You mean at Democrat events? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. No. Just even if there's a Republican event and a Republican steps outside and says,
they'll
please
go after
quiet
them.
down, they'll arrest a Republican for interfering with the constitutional right of the Democrat who's protesting.
Wow.
The county here suspended the noise issue, which the police is now backing up so that they can have the justices' homes and their children's homes bombarded all night long with music.
And I've heard that. That's horrendous.
So where you are for, giving them more, give them an inch, they deserve the space. Here, that would be very dangerous.
Now, wait a minute. The bill is that they cannot get closer than 8 feet. They got to stand back 8 feet.
That would be very dangerous here. A lot can be done with videotape within an 8 feet spirit.
Wait, you don't allow them to videotape in Virginia?
Well, no, the Supreme Court made that you can videotape.
Right.
Now, what happens is somebody will come up from behind and knock you down.
Right. That's the danger. And I feel for the police officers, they're getting these videotapers, we're getting inches away from it.
No, this is the police who are knocking people down.
Oh, police are knocking people down.
Again, you have with your sheriff's office a good, what I can only say, allegedly a good individuals and good officers. That is not what we have in the Northeast.
Okay. No.
We have a political police department.
Well, I know when you visited here, you were shocked that everybody was so kind, and the Border Patrol agents and all of that. You were actually kind of surprised.
I told you I was more concerned about getting shot than getting mugged, and getting shot by a cop, not by a criminal.
Yeah, it's not going to happen here. But do you think the law is a good one? You don't.
I think that they should be able to get in their faces and make sure that everything is recorded, because with an 8 feet block period, you can block a lot of what's going on. And I have no doubt the police in this area, which I have been a vocal complainer about, and a huge issue of this is where I come in, and I have said it's time to defund the Arlington County Police Department, and we move strictly to military police. Because if you want something done, call the base. Thank goodness I live in a zone where I can call the military police rather than the local cops.
You have that much distrust in them? I mean, or they've been distrustful?
They have been distrustful. They have been proven to have been distrustful. They only close 4% of their crime, and you can check this on an FBI statistics. Mm-hmm. Only 4% of crimes reported are ever solved in Arlington.
Now, is this something that's just gotten worse over the years, or is this? I mean, is it a new thing, or has it been like that for a while?
It has been getting if everyone thinks that Los Angeles is controlled by one party, try Arlington County is a one-party town.
Okay.
Our beloved director of our board was found passed out and took swings at underage kids in the middle of the afternoon drunk, and was simply told that it was a misunderstanding. And when the police came, the police sheltered the board county commissioner, rather than taking them under arrest. So it's a private police department, not a correct to serve the people, and we all know that. Everyone knows it. So everyone who has the ability and capability will call the base if you need something.
So do you carry a Democrat card on you that shows that you're a member of the Democratic Party or something in order to get out of things?
No, I think my Let's Go Brandon bumper magnet is a pretty much giveaway. Now, I have to say, the next county over, I had a cop defend somebody who ripped off my Trump 2020 magnet and tear it up. He pulled that person over and said, hey, we're arresting you for destruction of property. But Arlington County is one of the most corrupt as well, and it's the police department, it's the government, but it is because we allow it for these items. We don't, people,
that's a
local minority.
That's the people you elect. The people you elect can
Not
make
that
a difference.
I'm a registered Hawaiian voter.
Okay.
But there is only 4% Republican registered in Arlington County.
Since you're a finance guy, I'm going to ask you, are we in a recession?
We are in a recession.
Okay.
We have been in a recession for over a month.
And when will it be declared?
Well, officially by the Biden administration?
Officially.
Never.
Okay.
Never, because they keep changing the bar for what the recession is. But we saw consumer sentiment drop to the lowest level since they started taking the poll back in 1947. Okay. That was the official declaration that there is a recession. Once people no longer feel comfortable making purchases, is the beginning of the recession. We already have Wall Street who's pumping out notices that they're going to have layoffs soon. Now, when Wall Street says layoffs, that means is we have the data before you do. And we know that there's a slowdown coming, and it's going to be hard and is not going to be an easy landing, simply for the fact that we are not seeing a reduction in inflation that a 3/4 point should have done. We're going to need another 3/4 point hike.
So
we are seeing, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Buy Now, Pay Later. That was huge a few months ago.
Yep.
But now we are seeing those accounts not getting paid. That is the same echo we saw back in 2007. We also saw the return of somewhat of what they remember the ninja loans. No job, no insurance, no problem. And now we're looking at those loans not getting paid. We're seeing an uptick in car loans not getting paid. Credit card rates have now jumped 1/4 point percentage in debt, which means now people are 1.5 points less cash than they had before, on top of a 10% inflation. So you're looking at the average person now having 20% of their income has disappeared.
That's huge. I mean, that's mind-boggling huge. Mind-boggling huge. So what for investors, what sectors would be desirable during inflation, or is everything just going to get hit?
This is where people talk about sectors. You have to stop in a boom market as we had under the past administration. Everything was doing well.
Right.
Now this is where you have to start cherry picking. All because Facebook is going to flop doesn't mean that somebody else isn't going to come up with something better. So what happens during recessions is the next avenue, the next great tech, the great invention that small business has the advantage to make a point and push through. Facebook did it during a recession. Google pushed out during a recession because we're looking for something new to invest in, something new to get our attention. This is where people need to start paying attention and not just watch the crazy guys on CNBC, Bloomberg, who are telling you what they just bought or sold.
Right.
Because by the time you see it on TV or read it in the Wall Street Journal, we've all gotten in or gotten out.
Yeah, you get this information ahead of time. In fact, you guys create the information generally.
We're the ones who create it. We're the ones who talk about it. We're the ones who get and say, hey, everybody, go buy Rite Aid. It's going to do really, really well because I'm already in.
Yeah.
Then I need to get mom and pop sucker. I mean, private investor to get in to buy what I want to sell to them because I want to get out now. And I'm only using Rite Aid as an example, not giving a yay or nay on Rite Aid, just using it as an example. But you use that, and that's what these shows do. They get the mom and pop excited, and that's what we saw with Bitcoin and all these cryptos.
Right.
A lot of push, and then finally, when the investment groups are mostly out, the price drops because once they've sold off their position, their interest to continue their buying goes away, and then just as with all markets, the bottom falls because if no one's buying, you got to be selling. Selling produces a drop in pricing.
So, is the crypto thing kind of over now? Or are we done with the crypto?
No. Okay. We're in another lull. We're going to watch as the economy goes through a recession process and people are needing more cash for actual living. And again, you can watch crypto for signs of the economy in general. Under Trump, a lot of money is to be made, a lot of people investing, a lot of free cash. Under Biden, my wife was just complaining that she didn't get me my potato bread yesterday because it was $12.50 a loaf versus some wheat stuff that was $5. And I said, listen, I'm willing to sacrifice her happiness of keeping extra money in the house for my potato bread.
That sounds fair. Yeah.
but when we have that lack of spending and you have to spend more, you're going to have people who are not buying more crypto. But as the economy goes back up again, slowly at some point we will bottom out, either with a change of congressional leadership that will force changes inside the government, or potentially 2024 if there's a change in presidential leadership, party-wise, not person.
It'll come back.
It'll come back to a degree. Depending again upon how much Congress gets involved.
I'm out of time. I got to run.
Right.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye. We'll be back, maybe, at 560 KBLU.
It's always game time at Paradise Sportsbook. Get in on the action with live sports betting. You can make your wagers in person or from the comfort of your recliner. The